Well, in our election coverage, there's plenty to talk about following last night's debate. When American News wanted to take a detailed look at the journalists asking the questions after critics sounded off on how CNBC's moderators handled the last GOP debate. Our very own Ryan Hoefle compares the two events and tells us what's changed.
Thanks. After last month's debate debacle, Republicans took the stage in Milwaukee, Wisconsin with a stronger emphasis on policy rather than divisive headlines. Now, despite being in friendlier territory, that didn't mean that the debate was a free pass for any of the candidates, with moderator Neil Cavuto asking Dr. Ben Carson tough questions about the recent headlines regarding his campaign.
You recently railed against the double standard in the media, sir, that seems obsessed with inconsistencies and potential exaggerations in your life story, but looked the other way when it came to then Senator Barack Obama's. Still, as a candidate whose brand has always been trust, are you worried your campaign, which you've always said, sir, is bigger than you, is now being hurt by you?
Now compare that to October's Republican debate, where after the curtain fell in Boulder, Colorado, there seemed to be more talk about the moderators than the presidential hopefuls on stage. Candidates were critical of the panelists for the harsh tone of their questions and for not diving into the details of the candidates' stances on policy, which has been on the mind of American voters. Instead, we got questions like this.
You've done very well in this campaign so far by promising to build a wall and make another country pay for it. Right. Send 11 million people out of the country. Cut taxes $10 trillion without increasing the deficit. Right. And make Americans better off because your greatness would replace the stupidity and incompetence of others.
That's right.
Let's be honest. Is this a comic book version of a presidential campaign?
After a while, Senator Ted Cruz said enough is enough, with arguably the most memorable moment of that last debate.
This is not a cage match. And you look at the questions. Donald Trump, are you a comic book villain? Ben Carson, can you do math? John Kasich, will you insult two people over here? Marco Rubio, why don't you resign?
In the wake of that debate, RNC Chair Reince Priebus said CNBC should be ashamed of how they handled the night, and even went so far as to cancel the party's partnership with the network, dropping NBC's involvement in a debate slated for late February. Now, all the talk about the media's coverage of debate reminds me of some wise words from a beloved media mind who offered criticism of the media's coverage of the campaign process, saying even though news networks have a responsibility to not get swept up in petty conflicts, they still do, but that they would try to do better next time. Walter Cronkite said that about the presidential elections back in 1976. And clearly we still have some work to do. It goes to show you how long this balancing act between good TV and meaningful discussion has really been going on.